Well, we're Rhiannon and Michaela.
Yeah.
So we were in Neligh primarily, and then we also did a lot of work in Clearwater, Nebraska this summer. So Neligh is a town of about 1,500 people. It's a pretty good sized town for where it's located. It's kind of the seat of Antelope County. And Clearwater is a village of about, what did we say? 400 people. So it was kind of a fun experience to work in like both types of environments of the two different, like the town and the village, and getting to see kind of those comparisons being so close to each other.
So we had 5 main projects, which sounds like a lot, but it really wasn't as bad as it sounded. And so our major video that reached the most amount of people was marketing videos. I believe we did 14 videos of both businesses and personal, like just people telling their story about why they love Neligh. And we shared those on Facebook, and the page gained over 50 followers this summer, which is pretty good for a town the size of Neligh. And we had several thousand people reached in every post, so we were pretty impressed, and people really seemed to like them. We also worked on market analysis reports, so we ended up having 2 15-page reports about Neligh, Antelope County, and Northeast Nebraska. And it was just a lot of compiling data and researching so the town can use that in the future when they put together their strategic plan. Yep. And then you want to talk about the last one?
So our other things we did too was working with Tour de Nebraska, which I think both of us got a really good experience from getting to do Tour de Nebraska. Getting to see the 500 bike riders that came into Neligh in the rain, not the best of weather for their bike ride, but getting to see the positive experiences that they've had, the willingness they had to come and help out the local businesses who were flooded with people, just getting to meet all these interesting human beings who want to know more about these towns. So that was a really fun project that we got to help out with, kind of coordinate, get everything together, and then kind of almost chauffeur some people around, which was really fun. And then we worked on some graphic design projects for the different areas in town, getting to work with making posters for different events, showing kind of the town what Canva was and how they can use it for their different projects, and just getting to kind of put together different things for like the Chamber of Commerce, Economic Development Office, City Hall, just kind of getting to put together all these different projects and kind of showing a new light to some of the older, outdated versions of software they've been using. And then finally, one of the most, I think, fun meetings we got to run was Strategic Planning Committee. So first, they kind of started meeting in June, so we got right on the ground floor with this committee, which was really cool and kind of sad at the same time, because first we got to kind of know what strategic planning was, getting to see it get started and what their ideas and concepts were. We got to run the meeting in July, getting to kind of show them how to map things out, get their ideas to the next level, and find the steps that they can take to do that, using SMART goals and different things that RFI had presented us during our training, and hopefully get to send them off with kind of this, how we can go off in the future. And so I think both of us kind of want to touch back and touch base and see how that goes in the future. And I think that was one of the sad things of getting it on the ground floor, so we don't get to see where they go in the next year to 5 years. But I have very hope that they'll do a lot with it.
So we did a lot of different things around town. Basically any opportunity that we had, that the town had that needed help, we volunteered and got voluntold multiple times. So we served food a lot. It was actually our first volunteer event and our last volunteer event. We served at the Burger Bash at Thriftway Market at the beginning of the summer, our first week, and our last event was the Chamber of Commerce barbecue at their county fair, and so we got to say hi and goodbye to people, so that was really cool. And then we helped out at the golf tournament, and we sat in the rain. I feel like every day we were outside, it rained. It was just inevitable, but we sat out in the rain and watched for holes in one, because there was a $500 cash prize and a new car. Nobody won them, but
kind of sad.
We watched. And we put out flags on Flag Day because Neligh, Nebraska is the flag capital of Nebraska, because they have one of few flag manufacturers in the United States. And so it's a pretty big deal there. So we lined 275 for probably 3 miles with little flags. And then in Clearwater, we helped take tickets, and we painted their grocery store, which Rhiannon's doing over there.
Yeah. It was pretty fun and we got to meet a lot of local, especially like local like wives and moms who are very involved in the community, and kind of getting to talk with them and how they all came together, just took it out of their schedule one morning, was like, we're gonna paint. And then I'm like, okay, let's go.
Yeah. And so the project we're probably the most passionate about in our volunteer work is the White Buffalo Girl grave. It's really important to Neligh. Back in the 1800s, while the Ponca were walking along the Trail of Tears, Black Elk's daughter ended up dying right outside of Neligh. She was only a year and a half, correct? And the Ponca tribe asked if they could return to her homeland and bury her properly, and the military said no. And so Neligh adopted her as their own and kind of just continued to take care of her to this day. Her grave is the only one that's allowed to be decorated year-round with flowers, and there's no specific group that decorates her grave. It's just random people who feel like it's their responsibility to keep taking care of her. And so we wanted to leave our mark on Neligh by kind of building that relationship. So this wasn't our original idea, but we talked with the cultural director of the Ponca tribe to get this kind of to fruition and see what they wanted versus what we wanted, because the maintenance isn't the best, and it's really hard to trim around all these flowers with a weed whacker without knocking them all down. And the Ponca really felt that it was important to have the symbol of the circle all the way around her grave, and so we kind of just worked with them and got a lasting mark of their relationship, and we got to put our input into it too, which was really cool.
Yeah. So it was kind of one of those things that we did for the community that we just kind of left as just a simple act of kindness, because we've seen the relationship. This is where we started, actually. Our tour of Neligh was, our boss Gabe took us up to the cemetery, and this was the first thing. And so we kind of wanted this to be like our last mark, because I think it resembled a lot in both of us of how important that relationship was, and kind of getting to see the different things throughout the summer. With the Ponca donating a bench for Sydney Loof, because she's from Neligh, in her memory, and just the different relationships that we had. And so that's how we really wanted to kind of leave that little bit of mark that we really appreciate this relationship that they have together, and so we wanted to build on that. Okay. So kind of like, so what? So why were we here? What did we get from this? All of that kind of important information that we like to talk about a lot. So I think one of the biggest things and one of my favorite things about this was kind of getting to bring in those fresh eyes to the community. A lot of the people in the community have been there almost their entire lives. There's a handful of people who've kind of come from different areas, but somehow had this relationship back to Neligh. And so one of the biggest things that we got to do is kind of come in and be like, here's our perspective of the town. Here's what we think could really boost to where your goals are, how we can do this, what are your goals, kind of getting that in from the ground up. And then, so, I'm trying to think of what we did.
Market analysis quantified.
Yes, okay. So then the other thing we kind of did too was with the fresh eye perspective, we got to do a market analysis of Neligh, which I think helped a lot, because we kind of got to take this look of the data, the different information about Neligh, when have things been updated, when do things need to be updated, kind of getting that fresh point of view of this is all the things and projects we think need to happen in the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. And sometimes that didn't necessarily agree with what the town thought, but getting to kind of put in that insider or outsider point of view to kind of look at those things kind of from a bird's eye view of maybe this is something you should focus on from an outsider if I were to move into the town. Because oftentimes too we found that there's kind of our office, not specifically, our office is a pretty young office in economic development, which is really awesome, but getting that young, how do we bring young professionals, entrepreneurs into this community, and that was something that I think really stood true for us to bring in.
Yeah.
You want to add anything?
We told some of the stories of Neligh, like I said earlier. I think we live in an age of stories. That's what everyone really wants to hear. They don't want to hear the facts. They want to hear the true nitty-gritty of what it's like to live there and why they love it. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's really important, especially for people looking to move to a rural town, specifically Neligh. And then, of course, one of our biggest impacts, I think, was our White Buffalo Girl project and creating that, keep building on that relationship between the Ponca and Neligh.
Yeah.
So now what? I came into this internship not really knowing what I want to do with my life. I mean, nobody really does, but I don't want to do research, but I definitely want to help people. And so I thought maybe community development was something that I could be interested in, and I actually am. It's something I could do forever. Maybe not exactly in this, but in agriculture, I could definitely see myself doing that, and so that was very beneficial. If I can do it here in Nebraska in a place I'm comfortable and already love, I can basically do it anywhere. Of course, there was leadership development. I learned what kind of leader I want to be. I want to be the last one to talk in a room. I always want to hear everyone else's opinions first, and before I form my own, and make sure everybody gets a say, and be that mediator between parties when they can't see a compromise, but from an outsider's perspective, you can. It increased my passion for rural, which I didn't know was possible, but it is. It's really interesting to see the difference between living in a rural town versus like running a rural town. Like, it's similar, but it's different, and there's different things that you value as a stakeholder, and I thought that was a really interesting perspective for me to see. And mediating conflict, it happens everywhere. There's always small town politics, and I like to see how different people handle it different ways and how I can handle it in the future. And lifelong connections, like Rhiannon and I did not, like, there was no way we actually had met each other once, but we didn't realize it until halfway through the summer, and it was really weird, like how similar we are, and like the people in Clearwater, actually, so they have a wing night every Wednesday, and we always went, and they had this really good sauce that the guy made, and like through the connections we had made, like he ended up giving us a bottle of sauce, and like it was like, it doesn't seem special, but it was so cool just to be like, hey, can we get some? And they're like, yeah, no problem. And we got shirts from the bar, and it was like, it was so great. The connections that you make anywhere is really cool, but like living in a rural town, they're always just so much more special and deep.
Yeah. And so for me, I, of course, had a lot of leadership development this summer. I think I got to see a lot of different types of leadership styles. And so for me, that was very interesting because it kind of taught me what type of leader I want to be. Learning from things that I saw that maybe I didn't like in the leader, but things that I really loved and different type of views, getting to take that in and be like, how am I doing as a leader? What can I do to improve and kind of work off of this? And that was a big thing for me this summer, I think, and probably one of my biggest takeaways in general. Another thing too is I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. Like, I'm from a city. I am from a small town in Georgia that maybe I've lived in for a max of like a month. But small town Georgia is a lot different than small town Nebraska. And so getting to come and kind of be completely immersed in this rural town, a town that is about the size of one of the graduating class of my high school, and kind of getting to see these kind of different perspectives and being truly immersed was a very interesting experience for me. I didn't necessarily think it was going to be as much as a culture shock as possible. And when I think about it now, I'm like, wow, I don't want to drive 30 minutes to Norfolk to go to Walmart. But then I think about the fact that I drove 30 minutes to school every day in Omaha. So like you have those kind of different perspectives and kind of putting those together. But I think I learned a lot from being able to be in rural. And I think it really developed my passion for what I want to do with my life. Because for me, I want to work on international development. Development is kind of the core of what I want to do. And so while I may not want to do economic development in like a rural area in the States, I definitely can take all the things I've learned from this and the planning and community. How can I go into a new community, look at what their plans are, what their goals are, using the skills that I learned right here in Neligh, right here in somewhere I'm a little bit more comfortable. How can I take that and relate that to somewhere across the globe? And so that was a really cool experience too, to kind of learn that value from that and kind of make those decisions and kind of see how I can use that in my future career, which was really cool for me personally. And I think one of the best things too is I learned the true meaning of what rural is this summer and what it means to be rural, because I've always been like, let's support agriculture, let's support rural, but like I never knew what that meant. I'm from Omaha. I was like, let's just buy organic food, and obviously I'm supporting, but it's like, no, that's not the case. Like, that's not at all the case of what rural is. And so getting to see where our food come from, what the farmers are doing, true agriculture and true just kind of the basics of what agriculture is. A lot of that's to Michaela, actually, so I'd love to thank her for that. But getting to kind of see what agriculture and rural means. So.
And the rodeo.
And the rodeo. I went to my first rodeo, so that was really exciting. Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for this opportunity and helping us, letting us have the opportunity to grow. You can grow from anything, but this is just a really unique experience, and
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Would definitely do it again because I think we learned a lot more than we ever realized. So thank you.
Outstanding presentation, ladies. Great job. So I have a question for you. You didn't touch on this, but what is the AND solution, Rhiannon? It was in your presentation on leadership development.
Oh, the and solution? Okay, so essentially going kind of when two people have different point of views, and this is very popular in rural, I feel like, and honestly, anywhere you go, really, two people have two very different ideas, and they want two very different things. But the and is kind of looking in and being like, well, we can do this, but where can we kind of meet in the middle? Like the and of the equation. So kind of getting to see both point of views, but getting to work both of them together and kind of doing that and this. So we can kind of see both sides and everyone can, it's like compromising, and it's a really cool strategy, and we got to use that a lot, I feel like, in Neligh.
Oh, yeah.
So as we work at kind of making this program even stronger in the future, what suggestions would you give us in terms of making it even a better experience for those students and communities?
One thing for sure, I think, is I know one thing that really added to the experience for us, we went to Neligh before the summer even started, and we kind of got to meet people before that happened. So going into that first week of the work week was a lot easier for us, was a lot stronger, and I think it added, I think, a lot to our Neligh experience, and I think made the summer go a little bit faster because we kind of got in from the ground start. Like that first day of week one,
There was no awkward, there was no kind of like trying to figure out where we fit. We just, one day of being there and like just getting a tour around the town and meeting our bosses the first day, like the day before we started, kind of helped us a lot.
Yeah.
I would also suggest like finding stakeholders in the community that are going to continue whatever your interns are doing, whether that's adults or high school students who are interested or whatever it is. Like I believe that Teresa and Helen and Chuck talked to us a little bit about that when they came out to see us. And that was something that really mattered to us and was really awesome that you guys not only like kept checking up on us, but valued us and our time enough to come visit us.
Yeah.
That was just super special, and I've never had an internship or like that had anything related to that. So that was really cool.
That's really cool.
Well, thank you. And I just want to comment, I appreciate you sharing so freely of those individual growth experiences that you've had, the transformation you've had, connecting with our tribal communities that are out there and really appreciating that. I just thank you. I mean, it's something as a university we want to do more of. And sometimes not all voices are heard in our communities, and you really made an extra special effort to do that. So thank you.
Just real quick, without putting too fine a point on it, Neligh has a long history of differences of opinion, among leaders and whatever, and it's also a great community for sure.
Yeah.
But it was so interesting to me that both of you said it was a point of your growth in learning to deal with those differences. I think that's rather than being intimidated by it, you used it as a growth opportunity. Do you want to say anything more about that and maybe the initial blush and then deciding, well, we're going to deal with this?
I think it's important to note that nobody was against growth, and everybody wanted progress. They just wanted different things. And something that Helen told us in one of our debriefing meetings was that all progress is ruin somebody's idea of paradise. So all the major stakeholders wanted the same thing. They just thought their way was better or the right way rather than the other parties.
Yeah.
So.
And I think that's kind of when we use like the and connection again too, is kind of getting those ideas and trying to find where is that middle ground, where is that and I think both of us, it was nice to be able to be there for kind of that time period to be like, okay, let's assess, let's talk. We did a lot of talking at nights afterwards, a lot of random drives getting lost in the country of talking about kind of this discord in the community, but also how can we learn from that, what can we do from that, and how can we kind of help and leave that positive mark while getting to help kind of both sides of that and kind of hopefully getting them to see both sides as well.
Yeah. And it was frustrating. Like, don't get us wrong, it wasn't always we came from this perspective, but you can look at it and, I mean, it's not going to change it being frustrated, so you can find the positive twist or you can just be mad. I mean,
Yeah.
like, that's not something I want to do with myself, but I mean.
So, yeah.
Great job. Thank you so much.